Lagos, you've heard from the WHO. Things are not looking good as far as the coronavirus is concerned. So are you keeping safe? First hard fact of the day, 74 new COVID confirmations yesterday. 49 of those were in Lagos alone. You have to take your precautions, limit your movement outside, wear a mask, give gap, wash your hands as often as you can. And I beg, go and get vaccinated. These vaccines are waiting for you to walk in and get them, and there's not a lot of them available, so first come first serve. Try and be one of the first come so that you can be one of the first served. 1 million Lagosians cannot be wrong. Thank you to every one of you for tuning in every day to Hard Facts. I have a great show for you today. It's the Big 3 Global Edition. Actually, today is a Big 4 because so much happened globally. It was difficult for me deciding which 4 to bring to you. You know, I was like, this one good, this one good. They said that's so crazy that be. But hey, you're going to enjoy it. I promise you, you'll enjoy it. So we're going to talk about 130 governments agreeing on a plan to tax digital services globally, and Nigeria not taking part. We'll talk about that. Then we'll talk about the pro-democracy protests in eSwatini. And then let's talk about the sentencing of Jacob Zuma. And then we're going to talk about the Tigray resistance defeating the Ethiopian army. There's no public square or music and moments today because of Euro 2020 quarterfinal matches. First, we've got Switzerland versus Spain playing, and then Belgium versus Italy. So it's a big day today, huh? No time to waste. Let's get into it. Let's get into the Big 3 Global Edition. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili, Lagos, and these are your hard facts.
Big 3 Global Edition on Hard Facts.
If the federal government wants to tax Twitter, why didn't Nigeria join the new global tax framework? Will eSwatini become more democratic? Will South Africa's imprisonment of Zuma set a precedent for other African countries? And will the Tigrays achieve self-determination? Those are your big 4. Global Edition. Let's get into the stories. As you know, on Fridays we allow Nigeria rest. If this is the first time you've ever listened to this show, every Friday on this show from 3 to 4 we take a step back from Nigerian stories, even though sometimes the biggest stories on the globe are still Nigerian stories, or they still affect Nigeria. Now, our first story should affect Nigeria, but it doesn't. When the government first banned Twitter, one of their complaints was that Twitter doesn't pay tax in Nigeria. Now, this is not an issue for Nigeria and Twitter. Globally, most countries have been trying to figure out how to tax tech companies who operate in those countries over the internet without being resident there. And now there's a solution. 130 countries have just agreed to a new framework for digital taxation. Under this framework, if a tech company is registered in one of these 130 countries but operating in the others, the home country will share the tax revenue with the others. This is based on the concept of SEP, significant economic presence. So that means that Nigeria's problem with Twitter is solved. Okay? Mba. Nigeria is not one of the 130 countries that signed this agreement, so we still don't have a solution. Now, why isn't Nigeria there? Why did Nigeria not sign up for this global arrangement? Why was Nigeria not part of the negotiations and the deliberations? I mean, the government has said taxing Twitter and other foreign platforms is a big deal, and here you have an international agreement to make it happen. You have the USA, the host country for most of the biggest digital platforms, signing up, backing the agreement. The USA's involvement guarantees that the other countries will get the revenue. But if a country is going it alone, without an agreement with the USA, how exactly will they get the tax money out? And what, if anything, does this say about the federal government's seriousness when it comes to taxing these digital companies. Now, we're hoping that there's a good reason why we didn't show up or why we didn't sign this thing. Actually, a lot of tax experts around the world are waiting to find out why Nigeria has not signed this deal. Because the agreement will happen whether or not Nigeria joins. But if we don't join, it might be more difficult for us to tax these companies. Because what this agreement does is it gives every digital company that complies with it the backing of 130 countries in the world. Can Nigeria really impose a tax on, say, Twitter, for example, that 130 other countries disagree with? Tell me your thoughts. What do you think about Nigeria not being part of this global framework for taxing digital services? Women, call me on 01465-7190. Men, call me on 0700-993-993-993. Women, 01465-7190. Men, 0700-993-993-993. What do you think about Nigeria not being part of this global framework for taxing digital services? What does it say about Nigeria's federal government's seriousness when it comes to taxing these companies? All my phone lines have gone blue. Jesus, I'm a bit afraid. 99.3, hello. Hello. Sorry about that. 99.3, hello.
Hi, Sandra.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, I'm the lucky one. I think okay from Lucky.
Welcome, go ahead.
Yeah, I just think it's sheer greed. It's greed by the government that they don't want to be part of this country. I think it's what these countries have agreed on is fair enough. It's fair enough. And I think Nigeria should be a part of it. If they are not part of it, then I think it's greed, like I said.
Why do you think it's greed? I'm trying to see how it's greed.
Maybe they want all the money for themselves.
But how are you going to do it? How are they going to do it?
Because if they tax the social media networks, they pay to them directly, and they have the larger share you get from all the social media networks or digital companies.
No, but that's the thing. This agreement now says that these digital companies, where they are founded is where they will pay tax. Then that country will now share the tax with all the other countries where they are.
The other countries. Yes, but since Nigeria is not part of those countries, that means and Nigeria is standing on their own policy that any social media network that wants to operate in Nigeria or digital company must pay their tax to Nigeria, whether residing or not. That is why the greed is. So if they are not greedy, they would have just joined the other country. Then they share the money. We get
right.
So I think that is greed.
You think it's greed? Adegoke thinks it's greed. Fridays in Igbolere. Is it Igbolere? How do you say that?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Welcome.
Yeah, this is Friday from Igbolere.
Welcome.
Yeah, see, I want to tell you, Sandra, the reason why Nigeria suspended Twitter in the first place, it was not because of nation. It was because the Twitter deleted our president and they suspended the president. And according to the information minister, environment, Twitter did not delete another Kalu tweet. And at the moment, to Nigeria, we have a bigger problem according to them that is bigger than participating in that global event. Because according to them, the greatest problem that Nigeria has faced now is not the Kalu and Sunday Igboho. So they cannot share themselves into two. They cannot be changing out the Kalu and Sunday Igboho and have the opportunity to go to international body to sign an agreement. It just to us that Nigeria, our government will lie suspended Twitter because of taxation. Nigeria never suspended Twitter because of taxation. It was actually because the president tweet was deleted. That was the main reason. It's not an issue to Nigeria. Thank you very much.
All right, Friday. Thank you for calling. We've got Sandra, who's a first-time caller on the line. Hi, namesake. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good to have you on the show. Welcome. Go ahead.
Okay, quick one, yeah. I beg to disagree with the previous caller. I think he said it's out of greed.
Greed, yeah.
By the federal government. I don't think so. I think this is more like a means to an end.
Okay.
Because I think the aim is to shut down Twitter. I don't think the government wants to give that opportunity for Twitter to operate anymore in Nigeria. So the fact that they are not being part of this at all, and we know that we have this agreement with these other 30 countries, right? They might not have the opportunity to do that anymore. So I guess it's just a means to an end.
But it's not just Twitter, Facebook, Google, Netflix. It's all the digital companies.
I remember there was I think a deliberation that all other forms of Facebook and the rest of them will be controlled if there's an opportunity. So I think this is just a means to an end, like I said. If they have the power, they will shut down everything, so we won't have a voice. So I don't think it's because of that. It's just an opportunity for them to just discard Twitter.
I see. All right, Sandra, thank you very much for calling. Abby is another first-time caller. Abby, how are you?
Yeah, I'm very, very fine. I'm very, very fine.
Good to have you on the show. Go ahead.
Yeah, good. That other caller before this place is out. So, these people, the people that really knows a one-way drive.
Abby, speaking to your phone. I don't know what's happening, but your voice is very low.
Okay. I want to say that the last caller, that other guy that spoke before this lady, has said it all. The people that actually really knows their one-way drive, they never block Twitter because of taxation, anything.
Okay.
The reason why they block Twitter is just because the president is angry that they deleted his tweets. So I'm sure they are not even aware whether to join this taxation thing. They are not aware. They are still fighting, just like Laka. They are still fighting Go and Nnamdi Kanu. They are celebrating that one that they have caught him. So as it is now, these guys are not even ready. They are not ready for that taxation revenue thing by the global world. They are still fighting. It's when they are not later on after sorting the disaster, they now go back to that. So they cannot say the reason is not about greed. It's just about the fact that they were angry. That's why they brought out Twitter, and they now trying to find out how they can justify that. Then they shift to revenue and all that. So it's obvious.
Okay. Obvious. All right. Thank you, Abby, for calling. If you just tuned in and you're wondering what people are going on about, well, when the government first banned Twitter, one of their complaints was that Twitter doesn't pay tax in Nigeria. Now, like I said earlier on, this is not an issue that Nigeria is facing alone. All over the world, a lot of countries have been trying to figure out how to tax tech companies who are operating in their countries, but they are operating over the internet and they don't have an office in their countries. They are not resident in their countries. And now, 130 countries came together and said, okay, we have the solution. Here's what the solution is. We will come up with this new framework for digital taxation. And under this new framework, if a tech company is registered in one of these 130 countries, but that tech company is operating in the other countries, the home country will share the tax revenue with the others. It's based on the concept of significant economic presence. Now, you've heard about significant economic presence before. Do you know how I know? It's because when we talked about the Twitter ban, I had people who came into the studio and debated the Twitter ban. They did. They came into the studio and they debated it. And they had very interesting opinions. They had interesting things to say. They had interesting things to share about the Twitter ban. And I'll be playing for you a particular clip from one of the guests at the time, Chief Andy Oboforebo. He said something about the SCP. He explained what the SCP is. I'm trying to find that audio for you at the moment. I don't know if I can exactly, but let's see. Hopefully I can find it. If I can find it, I will play it for you. But if I can't find it, oh well. I'm doing my best. I found it. So he explains what the SCP is, and he talks about Nigeria's relationship with this SCP. Let me play the audio for you.
Coming to the tax question, I think also the federal government hasn't wrapped its head fully around how to handle Twitter.
Okay.
And that's why they're doing this. Lai Mohammed seems not to realize that there is something called BEPS, base erosion, profit sharing. It's the big question in taxation globally right now. How do you tax a company that is domiciled in one country but operating globally? Incidentally, today the International Bureau for Fiscal Documentation, that's a global body that gives us information on taxation, was having a conference on BEPS specifically. The federal government was not there represented. You had governments from all over Africa. But you see, this is what always happens. If they were there, they would realize, I attended, they would realize that there's already a model in place for this problem. The UN has made it such that Nigeria can tax Twitter without Twitter registering here or opening an office. I mean, Sandra, we're not in 1915, So what you do is, Twitter is in America, but there's something called SCP, Significant Economic Presence. Right. So Twitter does business in Nigeria and other countries. They have a significant economic presence here. Right. Under that framework, that allows Nigeria to tax Twitter without Twitter being present here. What needs to happen is, now Nigeria also has, last year, Nigeria set up its own SCP tax policies. So basically, under current Nigerian regulations, Nigeria can tax Twitter. So like Mohammed saying, Twitter is not paying tax here, he needs to go and ask the FIRS. He needs to go and ask some one or two questions because he seems not to be fully informed about the situation.
And based on these concepts that Chief Obofero was talking about, this significant economic presence concept, that's what helped these 130 countries come up with and agree on this framework for taxing digital companies. And under that framework, if a tech company is registered in one of these 130 countries but operating in the others, the home country will share the tax revenue with the others. And Nigeria, no sign. Nigeria was not part of the negotiation. Nigeria was not part of the deliberation. If the government has said taxing Twitter and other foreign platforms is a big deal, and you have an international agreement to make it happen, you have to ask yourself, why was the Nigerian government missing at the table? You have countries like the USA, the host country for most of the biggest digital platforms, signing up, backing this agreement. The involvement of the USA guarantees that the other countries will get the revenue. But if a country is going it alone without any agreement with the USA, how they go collect the tax money? That's what I'm curious about. I wonder if you have an answer. Maybe I'm not seeing it quite clearly. And what does it say about our seriousness when it comes to taxing digital companies? 0700-993-993 993 01465-7190. Hello, how are you? What's your name?
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What's your name?
Yeah, my name is Shile.
Hi, Shile.
Yes. Apparently, what the government is trying to do is just an overflow or their reaction to NSA.
Okay.
To block possible means to ensure that they are in control of every social sphere. If you look at current delegations that they're trying to do in terms of legislation and the rest, you will see what they were trying to do with journalists and the rest, just trying to ensure that your freedom of press and information is siphoned so that they'll be able to be in control and there won't be any hard force with the people. If you ask me, it's significant economic presence or whatever the countries are signing takes care of everything. And it shouldn't be only Twitter. You can extend it to Facebook and every other digital services. So if they are serious, if we know indeed that the reason why they suspended Twitter is for economic reasons, not personal, they would have jumped on it. Nigeria should be the first to even sign that because that takes care of our problem. But if anybody sits somewhere in his office believing Twitter is going to come to Nigeria to register or open an office in Nigeria, they're only wasting their time. That is not possible. So it only shows that they are not serious about generating revenues. We are just serious about we just wanted to get back to Twitter because it said President Twitter and so on and so forth. So they are not really interested in any economic reason. The ban is not for economic reasons. It's just for them to settle score with Twitter. So, I don't see any, why are we not signing? Why are we not in the table? Why are we not discussing? If we want revenue, you will send it to Facebook, you will send it to Instagram, the rest of them, and they bring money to us. But there's an avenue for us to make money, but we are not interested. But we just permanently want to disable the Twitter without minding the effect on the people.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much. We've got Nonye calling us. Hi, Nonye.
Hello, Sandra. How are you doing?
I did. Can't wait.
How work now?
We did try. We did push. How you did?
One girl with Sandra call you. Say your name. Not because of your name. Say Chino,
And now all of them are my namesake.
No, talk and say my name. Say welcome.
My namesake, welcome.
God bless you. Because people go know. You know, our own would be like saying now we get sense fast. Yesterday, just talk about one topic. I just no one call the name of the topic. You understand?
Okay.
But now what we do? The like saying now we have pass. We have pass. We say people want to be our country. We say I not just understand. Our country, some countries say better pass our country. Listen to US. Now we know all listen. Sandra, oh yeah, na
Catchy for one name. Lagos, when we come back from a break, I'll tell you what's happening in a nation, a tiny nation called eSwatini. Their king may have even run away from the country as a result of what's happening. As in, Kasala boss, the king, leave the country run. It's happening. I'm excited to bring you that story. Plus, we're also going to talk about Jacob Zuma's imprisonment. He's going to prison, and I'll tell you why. And I'll also talk to you about what's happening in Ethiopia. TDF has chased Ethiopian government forces out of the Tigray region. You're listening to Hard Facts on 99.3 Nigeria Info. This is the Big Three. I am Sandra Ezekwesili. Big Four today, actually. The stories were so hot, I couldn't leave anyone alone. And we're streaming live on Facebook, Nigeria Info 99.3.
Traversing state lines and capitals from Rome to Baku, St. Petersburg, Amsterdam, Bucharest, Glasgow, Copenhagen, Seville, Munich, and London. The coverage is global and the cast nationwide.
They seem to keep hold of the ball, see so much of the ball, but at the end of the day, they tend to do little or nothing with the ball.
Floated into the box. It's in.
A player who's been having a renaissance after season.
He connected to the pass like a socket. Fired the shot like a rocket.
From no other person but Rafael Varane.
All they want to do is sit back, where your weaknesses, and then when they get the ball, they counter-attack you.
It was a brilliant piece of play by Karim Benzema. But they decide against that counter-attack and go all the way back.
Beautiful. Trent Alexander-Arnold, 38 meters. This is your goal of the week.
When you defend, you can defend for 91 minutes, and just for 1 minute, everything will change.
He completes his hat-trick. He's in the pursuit of perfection.
Best days are behind him already, and young managers have taken up the mantle.
Covering every blade of grass for a full month from 11th June to 11th July 2021 on Nigeria's #1 radio station for sports and talk, Nigeria Info. Reach out for sponsorship and advertising. Euro 2020 on Nigeria Info. It's live football, just the way you like it.
Welcome back to your #1 talk, news, and sports station. This is Nigeria Info.
The Big Three. Global edition on Hard Facts.
Today in Asha, Big Four, 29 minutes past 3. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili. Protests are sweeping the tiny nation of eSwatini, and King Mswati III may be on the run. That's our second story. Eswatini used to be called Swaziland, in case you're wondering. It's a very small country, almost completely surrounded by South Africa. It's an absolute monarchy, which means the king holds all the political power. He's more or less above the law. Now, there's an elected parliament, but there are no parties, no political parties. The king chooses the prime minister from among the MPs, and the king approves the cabinet. So right now, you have these massive protests by the Emaswati. That's what people who are from eSwatini are called. And one of the things that they are asking for is real democracy. They want King Mswati to relinquish all political power. They also want the ban on political parties to be lifted. But the protests are not just about politics. In fact, they didn't even start off as political. They started as a reaction to police brutality. Apparently, a young student died in police custody, and so young people took to the streets demanding justice. At around the same time, the government banned people from sending any petition to parliament that asked for democratic reforms. So, of course, people started protesting against that as well. The police and the army cracked down hard on the protests. The government also started blocking access to social media to obstruct those who were organizing the protests. But the people did not leave the streets. In fact, more people joined. And as more people joined, the nature of the protests evolved. So apart from police brutality and lack of democracy, they also started protesting against corruption and misrule and the lavish lifestyle of the king. King Mswati has 15 wives. 15. All of them have huge mansions all over the country. He has scores of expensive cars as well, and he's notorious for flaunting his wealth. Oh, by the way, the king owns all mineral resources in the kingdom. So lots of Eswatini people are upset because the population is very poor. They have 34% unemployment. Majority of people live on below $1 a day. They also have a 35% HIV rate. So the people are angry that the king is living large in the midst of poverty and death. Now, like I said, the government is cracking down hard, but the people are staying on the streets. We're hearing conflicting reports about whether or not the king has fled, but it's hard to get clear information because, like I said, internet and social media platforms are being locked. They're being blocked. The protest leaders say that the government is blocking the internet because it wants to suppress the truth. I wonder if you agree. And I also wonder what you think about these protests in Eswatini and also other parts of Africa. Do you think Africa is seeing some sort of popular awakening? I mean, we saw protests in Angola over police brutality. We've seen pro-democracy protests in Ivory Coast and Senegal. Malians and Guineans are protesting against the coups there. And of course, before all of these, we had NSAS protests here in Nigeria. So is there some sort of awakening going on in Africa? Is there a new wave of consciousness among young people? Or do you think all of this is a coincidence? Women call me on 014657190. Men call me on 0700-993-993-993. Again, 014657190 for women. For men, 0700-993-993-993. We're still going to talk about Jacob Zuma, South Africa's former president, going to prison. So don't go away until we talk about that story. But in the meantime, Etim is here. Etim is in Satellite Town. Hi, Etim. How are you?
I'm fine. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Welcome.
Nigeria not signing the agreement over social media control.
Digital, not social media control. Digital taxes.
Okay, taxes. Then when the news broke out, when federal government banned Twitter, well, they're not banned. They are not banned. They have been suspended. Okay. Nigeria, the same Nigeria that are talking from the both sides of their mouth, say there was nothing like that in other parts of it because we are in a democratic era. There was nothing like that. Other countries are not banning Twitter whatsoever.
Are they banning Twitter?
Yeah.
Are other countries that are democratic banning Twitter?
They are making moves to regulate social media.
They're not regulating. Like they're taxing.
Okay, that's not whatever.
Taxing is not regulation.
And the same people when federal...
No, I need you to acknowledge what I just said. Etim, I need you to acknowledge what I just said. Taxing and regulation, are they the same thing?
Taxing. It's not for the interest of the country.
Is taxing and regulation the same thing?
You tax to regulate now. I mean, regulate to tax now. Can you tax without a law on ground?
It's a guinea.
Can you tax a company without a law? If a company is sued to court, what law will you use to challenge them in court?
This regulation is about money. It is not about going to court. Regulation is deciding what can and cannot be done. Taxation is about money.
Whatever way, the federal government...
Whatsoever way, you're not acknowledging what I'm saying.
Hello?
Can you hear
Allow
me?
to make my point.
I'm allowing you to make your point. I'm also countering your points. You need to acknowledge that your point has been countered.
Okay, when did Nigeria sign African Intercontinental...
We're not talking about AFCFTA right now. We're talking about this digital taxation.
Yeah, you are talking about the agreement. Is it not for the interest of the nation? Nations sign whatever they want to do for the interest of the nation, not for the interest of another country.
We're talking about a tax agreement for digital companies, not for intercontinental trade.
Why are people crying for what you not concern? The Twitter complaining. They have reached out to the federal government to reach agreement with federal government. The federal government settle this one first before they can go to whether link up with...
Etim, you're the one that called me and said people are talking from two sides of the mouth, and I'm telling you that people did not talk from two sides of the mouth. People did not say... People did not say... People...
Wait. Is starting this Twitter and other social media whatever. Is it a battle to the country? The same people when government go borrow it, they say government borrow it. When government fight...
Okay, so taxing is not a bad thing. Okay, Etim, taxing is not a bad thing. So why was the Nigerian government absent at this meeting? Why did Nigerian government not sign so that they can get money?
The sovereign nation to do what they want to do at the right time. They will do it at their own right time.
You can't force a sovereign nation to get taxes from a digital company, but the Nigerian government says they want to get taxes from digital companies.
Okay, who's going to sanction Nigeria for not...
Nobody is talking about any sanctions. You're going from A to Z very quickly. Nobody is talking about sanctions. We're just talking about digital taxation here.
I have told you, the government of any nation will do things that will suit their own interests.
How are they going to do it now that we have a digital taxation agreement that has 130 countries on board and Nigeria is not at the table? So how are you going to get that money out?
When the Nigeria sign in the African intercontinental...
We're not talking about Africa and intercontinental trade. We're talking about digital taxes. And Nigeria signed it late. And as a result of that lateness, Nigeria lost a lot of things. But let's not talk about that. Let's focus on digital taxes. But I don't want to keep Leke on the line for too long. He's already been here for 2 minutes. Leke, welcome. How are you?
Hello, Tanda.
Good to have you on the show. Hello, Leke. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, well, let's move on to Jacob Zuma's story. Sorry, because, time is almost gone. But yeah, you can talk about Jacob Zuma and the eSwatini story as one. So in South Africa, their former president is going to prison. That's who Jacob Zuma is. It's always stunning to hear of an African former head of state going to jail. African former head of state. But this case is even more surprising. Zuma is being jailed for contempt of court. Here's what happened. A panel was set up to look into a corruption scandal. At some point, the panel wanted Zuma to appear and answer some questions that would not incriminate him. The questions would not incriminate him. He refused. The panel petitioned the court. The court ordered Zuma to appear at the panel. Zuma refused. And so the court charged him with contempt. The court to swear an affidavit. And if he refused to send an affidavit, he would go to prison. And he refused. And so the court guilty sentenced him to 1 year, 3 months in prison. Contempt of court, failure to appear. It got me thinking about all the times here in Nigeria that government officials have refused to appear before the National Assembly. I mean, recently President Buhari ignored their summons. Before that, we had it happen over and over with the service chiefs. We've also had so many ministers ignore summons. Even heads of parastatals have ignored summons. And this is the exact same thing that Jacob Zuma is now going to prison for. And I want to know what you think about that. What's the difference between the two countries? Why is it that refusing to appear before a legal panel can get an ex-president jailed in South Africa, but it won't even get an agency head sacked in Nigeria? 01465-7190 for women. For men, 0700-993-993-993. Men 0700-993-993-993. Women 01465-7190. Yes, you can talk about the first two stories. We've got Henry on the line. Henry's in Lekki. Hi, Henry. How are you? He's a first-time caller. I love first-time callers. Hi, Henry.
Huh?
Hello, Henry. You're live on the show now. You're talking to Sandra. How are you? Henry, you're talking to Sandra. Hello. Oh, sorry about that. 99.3. Okay. Bele. 99.3. We've got Meg on the line now. Hi, Meg. How are you? Hi, Meg.
Hi, Sandra. How are you doing?
I'm good. Welcome.
Thank you. You were asking whether the laws in South Africa is different from the laws in Nigeria.
Yes. What is it about them and us, you know?
Okay, what is different about us, about them and us, is that they follow the law, they obey the law. And if you don't want to obey the law, there are consequences. In our country, there are no consequences for anything. And I will give you a simple analogy. If I want my daughter to dress responsibly as a 20-year-old girl, I must mirror that behavior to her.
Okay.
So I won't be exposing myself and expect her not to do the same.
Okay.
President Buhari has over time disregarded the laws of the land. So his subordinates are doing the same. And nobody is asking anybody anything. They are running wild with disobedience. So that's the difference. I'm sure he's going to shock Jacob Zuma that he's going to go to jail for one year and 3 months for just contempt of court. But it's a good thing is happening so that other people can. Well, you see, our judiciary has been pocketed in Nigeria. Who has the temerity or the audacity, according to Obama, to do what is against to do what is against the president? It's not going to happen. Who does that? You understand? So it's unfortunate where we are. Things need to change for the better in our country. Things need to change. And until we begin to respect the law of the land, nothing is going to change. So that's why things are going haywire. They don't obey anything. Nobody is accountable. Nobody does anything. And the governor of Lagos State will say he will name and shame people. 3 months after, he cannot name one person. Does he have the strength to name the person? He cannot, because they've all been pocketed. It's unfortunate, Sandra. That's the difference.
Oh, Meg, thank you very much for calling. Peter is a first-time caller from Ajegunle. Unfortunately, he's not on the line anymore. 99.3, hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine.
Can you put your radio off?
Yes, I've done that.
Okay, what's your name?
This is Harry.
Henry, good to have you back on the line. Are you speaking with me with a hands-free device?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, I've stopped hearing the echo. Go ahead. Oh, no, Henry. Pele. Okay. All right, let's take a look at WhatsApp and see the messages that we have there. On WhatsApp, we have Chris from Amuwa, who says, Sandra, Nigeria not being part of digital tax countries is nothing new. We can always join later. That is not a case. All right, Chris. We've got somebody who says, I think this is Ororo from Ayobo. This is Sandra. Okay. That's a funny message. Thank you very much. We've got more people who are sending messages. Ezenwoke says, Sandra, Nigerian government is the most powerful president in the world. His ministers are only protecting his influence. And to tell you the fact, he surrendered himself with old people who really follow old ways of thinking, that they don't even know what digital age is all about. Ezenwoke, I thank you for your message, I guess. Mui in New York says, Sandra, I love the way you drilled that guy. He didn't want to listen to fact. He just wanted to share his own beliefs. Haba. And they don't say you get stubborn head. Okay. Agatha says, illiteracy go kill some people. Oh, okay. Let me see messages on WhatsApp. Sandra, your namesake Chinonye is troublesome, but I like her vibe. Okay. Sandra, Twitter ban in Nigeria was to shut down Nnamdi Kanu and his followers. The government is not after tax benefits, but they are forgetting that a lot of Nigerian youth are earning a living through Twitter. That's a message from Harrison. But that's the funny thing. A lot of the IPOP people are on Facebook and WhatsApp. Because on Twitter, people are giving them fire for fire. You know, if you're bringing your fake news, people are challenging you fire for fire. But on Facebook, that's where a lot of IPOB activity goes on. I mean, a lot of the, what's the word now? A lot of the live speeches and things that Nnamdi Kanu used to do was on Facebook, right? So WhatsApp and Facebook, that's where you find the people. It's not even Twitter. So is it really about that? We've got James Ogudu who says, the difference is this. All the agencies in Nigeria are in bed with each other, especially our judiciary and our police. They're all in bed with the government. But South Africa also has complaints of corruption and incompetence. South Africa has a lot of their citizens complaining about corruption and incompetence, and somehow they found a way to send their former president to prison for 1 year and 3 months. So what is it about them that makes them able to walk around their corruption and incompetence and do that, but we can't? Val in Festac, hello.
Hello, Sandra. How are you?
I'm fine. Welcome.
First of all, eSwatini. I think there's a new consciousness in Africa in general.
Okay.
And I think it's a good thing for us to modify our systems in general, from state to state, nation to nation, so that this stronghold of power being held by so many people like dictators and all that will be broken. Because if Africa is not liberated, I don't think the world will experience the impact. So it's a good thing for Africa.
Okay.
Then for the Twitter ban, I think I see things from a different perspective.
Okay.
I see it as trying to block every form of communication through media that would appear as a threat to the government.
But if that were so, they will also go after Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp.
Yes, that's how I see it, because it's getting to that era. They know that information spreads, and everything they do, before they take any step, people are always proactive to get every information.
Okay.
The only challenge I have is, like for me, if I were to be the president, I would have changed my cabinet, because the Minister of Information, to me, instead of bridging the gap between the executive, the presidency, and the people, by selling the concepts and plans of the government to keep us informed and all that, instead of bridging the gap, is causing further disparity, widening the gap. If I were to be the president, I think he has overstayed his welcome. He would have changed his cabinet and removed him from office, because as it is, their issue will end up backfiring, whether they like it or not. Then for Zuma, I think it's a good thing. They respect rule of law, and the day is coming, whether we like it or not, everything will never go again in Nigeria. Rule of law will come to stay. Thank you. Have a lovely weekend.
Thank you, Val. Have a lovely weekend yourself. Now, if Twitter is about shutting down dissent, there are still other social media platforms. I mean, things spread on WhatsApp faster than they could spread on Twitter, for instance, and Facebook as well. So why haven't they gone after WhatsApp and Facebook and Instagram? What's so special about Twitter? Why Twitter? You know? Dixon in Egbeda, how are you?
President Sandra, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dixon.
You are a household name in my house. My little child will wake up and say, I am Sandra Ezekwesili. I am telling you. He say, I am Sandra Ezekwesili.
Oh, that's sweet.
Honestly, you are bringing joy to many homes.
Thank you.
Yeah, in the issue of Jacob Zuma, you see the problem. South Africa is not a homogeneous nation, just like Nigeria. But the mixture of the white people has brought a great influence in the way and the manner they live. By the grace of God, I've been in that city, in that country before. Their lifestyle is not like the usual African lifestyle.
Okay.
Because of the influence of the white people there. Now, if you look at their parliament, there's one guy that is called Julius Malema.
Okay.
If that guy happens to be in Nigeria here, I am telling you, story would have been told on his head. Allegation would have been framed up against him. But you see how bold this man confronts whoever that is on seat. In fact, he was the one who even raised a motion against Jacob Zuma. So, I am asking three major institutions in Nigeria to help us out. The judiciary, what is it called? The third estate of the realm. What is it? Communication, right?
Third estate or fourth estate? That's media.
Media. Then the police. Because if these three institutions fails, the society is in trouble. In Nigeria here, we can't do anything because the judiciary is no longer effective. Then look at the new amendment of whatever they are proposing to reduce the power of the media. And once the media is caged, they're in trouble. So that is the difference between Nigeria and South Africa. Their institutions are working, our ours are not working. Hello, Sandra.
Okay, so institutions are working, but ours are not.
They're not working. They're not working. Come on, okay, look at what you said in that former Swaziland. Ours here, our youth stood up to change our country. Do you know the reason why we have the likes of Nnamdi Kanu and the other people? It's because of these social abnormalities. I did think that the youth were allowed to carry that protest. It was not violent. They were not killing anybody. They were only asking for police to respect the citizenry. And look at how it ended. But look at, okay, because of we are not in unity among ourselves. As you said, the report that the government brought out the army and the police, but yet the people refused to retreat. But the moment army shot here, everybody ran away because we are conscious of our lives. So the Nigerian media, judiciary, and the police have to help this country to succeed.
Dixon, thank you so much for calling, and my regards to your child. Now I have to bring you our final story. I waited until last minute to bring this story because I know the people that it will bring out. But this final story is from Ethiopia. The TDF has chased Ethiopian government forces out of the Tigray region. That's our fourth story. Yes, we had 4 stories today. So the tide has turned in the so-called Tigray war. We've talked about the war before on the Big 3 Global. You remember? And back then, the Ethiopian government forces had more or less taken over the entire Tigray and pinned the TDF troops in the mountains. We were talking about a serious humanitarian crisis there. Displacement, starvation, talk of genocide, all of that. But in the last few weeks, the Tigray Defense Force turned the tables. They fought their way out of the mountains and they recaptured town after town from the Ethiopian army. We're getting reports that up to half of the Ethiopian force in Tigray were killed or captured in the last few weeks of the fight. And now the Ethiopians have withdrawn from Tigray. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has declared what he calls a unilateral ceasefire. But international commentators are saying that he's just saving face, because his army has been defeated. Now, what's the background of this war? Ethiopia is multi-ethnic, and so each ethnic group has a lot of autonomy to govern its own region. Also, the constitution gives each ethnic group the right to self-determination, including secession. Then at the center, before 2018, there was a coalition government made up of ethnic parties. But the Tigray party, the PDF, dominated the government, even though Tigrays are a minority. But Abiy Ahmed, who is Oromo, took over in 2018, and the Tigray party pulled out of the government. They decided instead to focus on governing their region. Fast forward to last year, time for elections. Government postponed elections because of COVID, stayed in office. So the TPDF said it no longer recognizes the federal government, decided to hold its own regional elections. Central government called this a rebellion, started building up military forces to invade. Tigrays attacked an army base in a preemptive strike, and then the war started. But there's a big debate raging in Ethiopia and the world about self-determination here. Is it wrong for the Tigrays to say, we want to govern ourselves going forward? Again, bear in mind that the Ethiopian constitution allows for regions to hold referendums, even to secede. But on the other hand, the Tigray government is criticized for striking the first blow. Now, their supporters say Ethiopia made that strike necessary by surrounding the region with troops and getting into an alliance with Eritrea. And then you have others who say even if the Ethiopian government was right to strike back, the extent of the response was too much, a full invasion, allowing foreign troops and ethnic militias to invade Tigray, starvation, raping of the women, blocking the internet so people in the region could not tell their stories. Terrible stuff. What I want to know, though, is what you think about the situation. Have you been paying attention to what's happening there? Do you think the Ethiopian government was right to delay the elections due to COVID? Do you think the Tigrays were right to pull out after that postponement and hold their own elections? Was the Ethiopian threat to invade the region justified, given that their constitution accepts self-determination, even accepts secession? What about the TDF's preemptive strike on the army base? What about the way Ethiopia prosecuted the invasion? What do you think about the reversal of the war and the TDF emerging victorious for now? Women call me on 014657190. Men call me on 0700-993-993. Hello, how are you?
Sandra, good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, sir. What's your name?
Yeah, this is Mr. Frank, the Vice President of HASFAN.
Hello, Mr. Frank. Welcome.
Well done.
Thank you.
My regards to Mui from New York. And Sandra, these people, I want to blame this global something as in this Twitter topic.
Okay.
I want to blame the 130 countries that have agreed and leave Nigeria all alone. Okay. Why should they use English language to give their announcement? They should have at least bring out somebody from their group that will use Fulani language so that some people will hear. They went and used English language without considering the educational level in Nigeria. There is not everybody that is educated that can understand English.
But English is the Nigerian common language. I mean, not Fulani.
But
So
not everybody that is hearing it now. They should have at least applied Fulani language so that some people will hear it. Can't you understand what I mean? Because I believe that assuming that those people use Fulani language, these people could have understand that this is what. Who are you for one country? And this other country, there are 130 countries, including US and other people. At least you could have joined them. Since you say you like unity. Unity in 130 countries, you could have been 100. At least you belong to the world. You speak to the world. You do what the other people are doing. You want to catch people. You don't want Twitter. You want to regulate the Twitter so that you will be in control. And if you allow them to go and collect their own tax from their own, what Twitter will be paying to the 130 countries is what they will collect on their own personal. Is it good like that? At least you're supposed to be considerate in this part of the world we are. You are removing yourself from the world because you want to be in charge. You want to be the Oga Pata for the people you are ruling. Sandra. Bye.
Bye. We've got Igoni Philip who says this Ethiopia is not Nigeria, where people from as far as Mali and others will come to fight for them, so we have to tread carefully. Bahomi says, I feel bad about what is happening in Tigray region of Ethiopia. I've been there. They should stop before they destroy the beautiful monuments and the people. All right, Sandra, federal government did not suspend Twitter just because of taxes, but they suspended for deleting the president's tweet. But federal government themselves have said it's not because of that. So I don't know what you are saying here. But you also say it's because it was a slap for you, so you supported this and those who cherish this country. Twitter would have exercised restraint before deleting. Samuel, thank you very much. But again, now you they talk say now because they delete in tweet. Oh. Federal governments don't use their own mouth talk say no be because they delete tweets make them suspend Twitter or ban Twitter. All right, that's all the time we have. But hey, thank you so much for being a part of the show today. In the meantime, catch me online, Sandra Ezekwesili, Ezekwesili. But I'll be back on Monday. Hopefully, I will have somebody from LASMA on the show with me at 5 p.m. Hopefully, I'll also have the SA to the governor on transportation so that we can talk about transportation in Lagos right here on Hard Facts. The show starts at 3, so all the big stories that will break this weekend, we will talk about them Monday, 3 p.m. But up next, Euro 2020, huge games covered by the best sports gang in the country right here on 99.3 Nigeria Info Lagos. Those were your hard facts. Good night.
Don't forget to listen to your number one station for talk anytime and anywhere. Just search Nigeria Info FM on the Apple App Store and on Google Play Store and never leave home without us again. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.